What's going on, world? Welcome to another edition of the Secret to Success podcast. I'm your host, CJ, joined as always by the Bayesian sensation, Mr. Karl Wesley Phillips.
What's happening, y'all? What it do?
And Dr. Douglas Thomas. What's going on, E?
What up?
Man, so there's no easy way to do it, no good way to do it. As you guys know, man, you guys are a part of this podcast, and because you're a part of the podcast and listen every week, you kind of become like family to us. And we pledge to do this podcast every week, and that's what we try to do. Come hell or high water, we try to be here every week. And this is probably one of the first weeks I was ready to call off and be like, yo, all right, we need a break. We need to take a time out. And, thought about it, prayed about it, and, we decided to do it. We lost a very close, I don't even want to call him a friend, family member, ETA family member, Chris Daniel. Many of you have heard us talk about the animal assessment. We always, for those of you who see us out and you're like, yo, what's gorilla, flamingo, chameleon, turtle? Well, that was developed by Chris Daniel, who is currently on the Take Control tour with us. He's teaching, he's done the animal assessment. So many of you have been blessed by his message. The conferences have been amazing. His last one in San Francisco was amazing. But yeah, he passed the other day. We're doing this podcast. Today's Tuesday, and we just got the news yesterday. So it's been an incredibly tough couple days for us. It is it's definitely hard to think about. He passed in his sleep, so he went peacefully, and so we're grateful for that, man. But it's a tough time, and we weren't gonna try to sugarcoat it on the podcast or come on here and act like nothing was wrong or whatever. We're hurting, and but we wanted to come on and talk about it. So Chris is a major part of our squad. I started coaching Chris a few years ago, helping him build his brand. He used to come to all the conferences, and that's kind of how we met him. And he's got an amazing story, and I'm sure in the days to come, and weeks to come, months to come, we'll be putting out some of his videos, as his family, gives the okay, just so we can share more of what he did with the world. But just an incredible human being, 40 years old, gone way too soon. We don't know the cause of death, and that's not our concern right now. Our concern right now is just, praying for the family and being there for one another. And our BU family has been tough on all the BU fam. Chris hosts a lot of our calls, and so I don't want this to be a sad podcast. I really don't. I want it to be something where we uplift them. And when E and I were talking, and I was thinking about should we or shouldn't we. I thought about the fact that, Chris was one of our first and biggest fans of the podcast. He would text me. He would always listen like Friday morning. He would always text me right after the podcast, just chiming in on his thoughts and feelings. And just an outstanding human being. And I know people say that when somebody dies, but he really is. So I appreciate you guys for being here with us. Bear with us. We probably won't go to full time today, whenever you're listening to this. But wanted to get on here and share some thoughts and some feelings about our dear brother Chris. And also E said, we should use this time to talk about legacy, and for those of you out there who are, looking to leave that legacy and all of those things, you never know when that time comes. So E, I don't want this to be super morbid, man. I'm already getting emotional. So why don't you kind of take it over and I'll chime back in.
Yeah, first and foremost, man, it's weird. My wife, she is the type of person that always tells me that this kind of stuff happens, in threes. And I don't know that it's, I don't know if that theory is true, but I do know Rochelle had just texted me that morning, was like, E, can you pray for my family? My brother passed. And, so Rochelle and I kind of go back and forth every day. And so I was like, no questions asked, start praying for her family. And then immediately after that, I got a call from Preach. And Preach was like, man, E, I got some, disturbing news. he had kind of texted me and was like, it's ASAP. And I was like, oh, okay, what's up? I was actually just finishing up Dee Dee's, one of her many doctor's appointments. So I was kind of like, I'm tied up. He was like, man, you need to call me like immediately, E. So I hit him up. And of course, when he said he had disturbing news, of course, I'm not thinking this. This is the farthest thing from my mind. Like, this is not happening. When he told me, it was like I was stunned. Like, this is not real. Listen to me. When I tell you, I just had a long, drawn conversation with Chris. We were in Boston, and we were at, I guess that was an Italian restaurant we were at, and we were in the basement, and he literally pulled me to the side, and which was weird because it's like, this is the VIP session. This is, people pay for one-on-ones. Chris, I can talk to you anytime, and he pulled me to the side and was like, E, talk to me, E. I was like, what's up? He was like, I noticed, like, your speaking has been going to another level. You know what I'm saying? The VIP, I noticed you've been taking your shoes off. What's that all about, E? And I was like, really? For real? He was like, no, E, come on. Like, I know what, like, holla at your boy. And so we just went into depth, man, just about, and it's animal assessment stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I was dying laughing, because I was like, yo, this is the stuff, that you talked to me. You went through my 26-page, document, and here's some things that you shared with me. And I was like, so I'm just giving them what you told me, and just like being completely transparent, following my heart, and really feeling like with that VIP session, like it's holy ground, bro. The ground you stand on is like, this is you giving these people next level. You pouring out your heart. You the spiritual development boy. And so we kind of talked about that, and he was just talking about, oddly enough, him trying to go to another place in his speaking, and then I hear once we get to San Fran, he get up and light the house down, in San Fran, so that was the conversation we had, man. And we kind of talked about, just some other, for him, some other observations in terms of, just the animal assessment, me, Dee Dee, me, Jalen, just kind of checking on me like, E, I know, you've been researching them and studying their animal and, how is it working? I'm like, yo, bro, Jada and I'm like, bro, I can't explain it to you, but, I ain't gonna lie and say we weren't always good, but now, well, it's next level, bro. I'm trying to explain to him like it's next level, bro. And we were talking about that with Jalen. I was just talking about, Jalen is definitely maturing, and our communication, and Dee Dee. I'm like, bro, we on honeymoon status. Like, bro, it's working, Chris. And that was pretty much, the last conversation we had. And of course, I saw him at It was crazy when I saw him in San Fran. I was like, my new thing is, and this is all Chris, bro. Like, Chris's whole thing is like, E, when you speak, I noticed that, you come down and you kind of watch all the presentation, but people are talking to you, whatever. Like, you ain't got to feel bad about just staying in your zone and staying in because you get to talking and you lose your train of thought, you whatever. And so actually, he was the one that kind of shared with me like, yo, E, you probably just need to chill, and just stay away from everybody and keep that, because like, let's say you listening to, your favorite music and you getting pumped up, you getting in the spirit, and then you come downstairs and you got 5, 6 people talking to you. It's not a bad thing, but you kind of losing some of that, in the spirit type deal. So he was like, yo, E, do you? And so I came down a little bit earlier than normal, and he was sitting on the side and just started hollering at me, start kicking it with me. So I'm just gonna be real. See, like, when I got the news, I'm like, no way. Like, no, like, bruh, like, are you sure? It was one of those things like, preach, for real, are you sure? Like, for real, preach. Okay, who told you? All right, call them. We three-wayed them, and then they were telling me what was going on. I was just like, yo, this ain't real. And then I get off the phone, and most of you guys know, Toussaint, and he brings about 15, 20 kids for the last 3 years, to church probably every month or so. And then as a church, we sponsor these kids, sent them to all the college. And I get the news that one of them was trying to de-escalate, a situation. It's a fight that was taking place, whatever. And then he got murdered. And I'm like, this can't be real. Like, we send you to Detroit, from Detroit to the South to get away from all that stuff. How in the world? So it's just been crazy, crazy, crazy. See, I mean, just a whirlwind for me. I just got off the phone with the president of the university, and he like, E, we want to do a memorial. We'll switch it. We was going to do it Thursday, but if you can switch your schedule up, we prefer to have you come down and do it. The kids, want to hear from you. And I'm like, see, that's just a lot. I'm just like, whoa, just the whole responsibility of going down and doing, a eulogy, man, with Toussaint, man. So it's been crazy, but I do want to say, when I let it settle in and just realize this is a reality, I thought about his son, and I'm like, wow, Jalen is 23, Jada is 20. Even if something was to happen to me tonight, my children had an opportunity to kind of grow up, and be with their father. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought about, like, wow, what is it like to lose your father, when you're so young? But the one thing I can say, and I hope that those who are listening, because no man knows, the hour, no man knows when it's, his or her time, but I could truly say the one light that came from this is just knowing Chris over the last few years. He left a legacy, bruh. And let me say this, and I know I'm probably going to be privileged to be at the memorial, but yo, bruh, when people talk about like E's development, and like, yo, E, you got to another level, and E, like, yo, I'm being for real. Outside of, my religious beliefs, outside of some of the things that we've been through over the last few years, and the professional development, like, yo, Chris has been like, yo, a game changer for me. Like the animal assessment, I've been on this joint, bruh, for almost 2 years, easy. I've been on it. Like, I was on it for about 6 to 8 months with just me and Chris going back and forth. See, talking about him mentoring him, and helping him with his brand. Well, Chris was like one-on-one with me, helping me with my, with my self-improvement, with my marriage, like I said, my children, the church, my leadership, and just bringing some things to my attention. And then I went from, you talking about a legacy, I just do to change my life. Like, I don't talk without flamingo, gorilla, like I don't talk without that language every single day. And so the Lord used this guy to revolutionize my life and take me to a whole nother level. Of course, I got the church to take it. We had BU take it, ETA, Didi. Didi ain't on that. Didi don't do assessments. Didi did the first one, then she did the values one. And after I got rebaptized, and Chris was the reason why, really that I got rebaptized. After looking at the information and studying myself, I was like, yo, I got to get over that. And this is something that I've never gotten over, So, Chris, man, changed my life. And then see, there are a lot of people who find a way to eat. You feel me? There are a lot of people who find a way to eat. But through your mentorship, Chris not only found a way to eat, but Chris found a way to feed others, bruh. And that's what I want to make sure, like when I talk about leaving a legacy, like he not only said, okay, the PMP, all right, see, I got it. I'm going to help, people with project management. But then, the animal assessment, he took that and now you can use it for marriages, use it as parenting. And then he certified people. And I know people personally who eating off that joint, bruh. I know people who are, who have learned from Chris and now have been able to take care of their family in a way that they wouldn't have been able to take care of their family without that too. So I just want to mad respect. And for those of you who are listening, like for real, we hate to have this conversation. Like it was a rough day. It was so funny. I told the kids at the Success Series last night, Karl walked up to me. I promise you, see, you know how paranoid I am. I'm always aware of my surroundings, bro. My man walked right up on me. I didn't even see him the whole time till he got right up on me. It was just that kind of day. I was just in a daze, sitting on a chair, looking outside the garage. I don't know what I was looking at, but I was just in a daze. So it's going to happen to all of us. But the question is, when you leave, what are you leaving? Are you going to leave just with people in, disarray financially, whatever? And Chris left a legacy, again, with training other people, getting them certified, helping them to be able to not only do a outstanding service, with this animal assessment, being able to bring about real change in corporations and individuals, something that they could be proud of in terms of the PMP and the animal assessment. Man, he it's people out here eating because of him. But more importantly, he started a company, so he's going to be able to do some stuff for his son. And I made a phone call and just said, look, I am willing, because we're a family. And this is why you need a family, guys. This is why you can't just be getting with companies who are trying to take money from you. But we're going to take care of Chris' son. And I made a phone call and said, look, if there's an animal assessment training that need to be done, there's something that I can do once a quarter or, however often you need me to do it. And we start a trust fund and we take that money and we put that money, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, whatever I got to do, it ain't going to kill me to go somewhere and do an animal assessment training on Chris' family's behalf and just make sure his son is taken care of. So, yeah, see, legacy. He left a legacy, Karl. He left a legacy. He left something behind where other people can use, and as a means to take care of their family, as a means to leave a legacy. So he will be missed. I personally, and I could be wrong, but outside of us, I don't think there was a person in our organization that was as influential. He probably touched every BU member with the assessment, went through the assessment with him, was on calls, was a trainer for our speakers bureau, counseled me and Dee Dee, on a marriage boy through the animal assessment, trained my church. I think he probably touched as many people, as us than anybody else in the organization. But I could be wrong, but I think he touched a lot of people in our organization and in the people that we touch.
Yeah, no, I said, honestly, I think I said it to my wife. Chris changed the world.
Yeah.
Flat out, he changed the world. This thing, the whole assessment, man, it has brought so much to life. You know what I'm saying? It's brought so much clarity to everything that we do. It's not going to be forgotten. 2 years from now, we're still going to be talking the same assessment, the same animals, man. And so my moment, was literally San Fran too. He walked off the stage, and the way this one happened to be set up, as he walked off, I was sitting right there with the audio equipment and stuff. And there's a door right behind us, and he kind of went through the door, and I just kind of followed him flat out, that was your best presentation I've seen. And we started kind of talking, and it was weird. I can't explain it, y'all. There was a moment that me and Chris had. I can't explain it, y'all. It was 5 to 10 minutes that we were outside talking, bro. Both of us were in tears. It was just a weird, we just had a moment, I was the whole, and we were just talking about what the assessment has done. And he was just saying yeah, man, I've been watching and I had to make some adjustments. And he was just saying, this the part, that I think that kind of got me. He was just I just figured it out, bro. He was just explaining to me the animal assessment was the tip of the iceberg. He was now I can see where this thing goes. And he was just kind of explaining to me where it goes and how he was overwhelmed with the responsibility of having this thing to give to the world. And I'm standing there dude, I'm telling you the impact that it's had on me. I'm talking about, so we talked 10 minutes, probably tops. We came back outside, and it just worked out that we actually flew out the same time the next morning. So we ended up meeting each other in the airport. And we just walking through the airport. We both had 30 minutes before our flights. We just walking through the airport talking. And for me, this is the part that kind of hit me hard. It was let's start connecting more. That was the conversation we had that day. Let's start connecting more. You know what I mean? It was, I can't explain to you. So Tamisha FaceTimed me and she was talking to him and we just back and forth right there in the airport. And then the following week, he jumped on I started doing the chameleon call. And he jumped on the call, for me. And man, I'm telling you, when Chris lit that call up, he lit that call up. So this is literally last Saturday. He did the call for me. And I'm talking about the last communication. See, you talk about going back through the text messages. The last communication I had with him was just sending him a screenshot of how everybody else on the call, because we got a little group me, and they were just yo, fire call. I ain't never thought about that. Yo, Chris this, Chris that. And I sent him 2 screenshots because it was too much to fit in one. And he was man, just praise God. It was that moment for him, yo, this is what I'm here for. And literally that's our last communication, man. But he said, you talk about legacy, man. I don't know what we need to do. He said he got a part to play, but I'm telling you, as an ETF family, I'm telling you, there's nothing that his son is gonna lack, man. We own this at this point. the impact that he's had on our lives, it's no words. Like everybody asks me, like, how you feel? I was like, it ain't no words. I ain't got no words for you. This is probably, I ain't tell you all this, E. So I called my mom to tell her about, the thing with Tucson and this. And my mom tells me 3 other people in the last couple of days that died, E. 3 others. So I got a cousin that his mom died. Then 2 other people that we knew from back in Barbados. So I'm talking about like this week has been heavy. I'm talking about heavy. And my parents actually in Miami now taking a flight to go back to a funeral tomorrow. So it's just like, hey, I never really thought about the threes thing or whatever, but whatever it is, man, just again, it takes you back to that moment of like, yo, do you realize that for real, it could happen to anybody at any time, man, and not to scare people, but this is why everything that we've ever done, everything that y'all see E so passionate about is because for real, like you got to take advantage of every opportunity. My niece said something that had me floored last night. We were kind of talking about the whole thing, and she said, man, it's so like presumptuous that we set an alarm clock to wake us up every single day. Like the average person set an alarm clock with the expectation that it's going to wake you up. You know what I'm saying? How often do we think about the fact that we might not hear that? You know what I'm saying? Like that's a reality. Like we might not hear that. And she just had me thinking. Now, the challenge that I have for everybody, including myself, is 2 weeks from now, like how do you keep that going? Like how do you keep reminding yourself that this thing is so real? You know what I'm saying? That this could be, and again, not to scare people, hear me closely, but to live your life the way that it was intended to, that the intent that God had for your life. Like how do you not get caught up? I'm telling you, I felt stupid yesterday because I'm not fussing, but I'm looking at my daughter like, hey, give me a minute, like I'm trying to finish something. She fell asleep, so I'm upstairs feeling good. Now I got like an hour or something to do work, and that's when I get the call from you, E. And it's just like, yo, you over here tripping on this stuff, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like it just, perspective is crazy. See said it. See, you said everything else just seems so small right now. Everything else in the world just seems so small, man. But man, so my thing to everybody is like, yo, I'm challenging you. 2 weeks from now, I don't know if it's a photo you got to put up, if it's whatever, something you got to listen to. Just always be reminded, man, not to take nothing. I'm talking about don't take, let me say it in correct English, don't take anything for granted. I don't want to upset nobody at this time in my language. Just don't take anything for granted. Like enjoy your family, enjoy your moments, be intentional about doing stuff. Yeah, don't leave nothing for chance, man. And this ain't, again, I'm keep repeating, this not to scare nobody into doing nothing. This is like make a transition in your life that you're going to appreciate life. You're going to appreciate what you have. Yeah, you ain't got all the money. Yeah, you ain't got the, whatever. Like appreciate life. You know what I'm saying? Like everything else could go. You know what I'm saying? Everything else could come and go. Once you got life, bro, it's the opportunity to get whatever else you're thinking about anyway. But I just want to challenge people, man, to have that full appreciation for the gift of life itself, man.
Yeah, no, it is, the cliche things that we think of, all of a sudden, why they are so commonly said. And, they really don't hit you until something like this happens when people say, yo, if, E says it, right? If you can look up, you can get up. You know what I'm saying? Like if you wake up with breath in your lungs, it's a blessing to go after it. And, this kind of makes you see those things much more clearly. So I know I've been hugging my kids extra tight and, saying extra prayers. The crazy thing, and I promise you, man, I just, next week, guys, we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming. It will not be this sad by the grace of God. But one of the things that's so crazy about death is, if you think about it, other than birth, right there with birth, it's the most natural thing in the world, but it feels so unnatural when somebody dies, Like, it seems like we should just be like, it shouldn't be that deep by now. Like, oh, for real, somebody died? Okay, cool, whatever. Like, every single one of us will die. And I'm with you, Karl. I want to challenge myself. I want to challenge everybody, man. Like, yo, the trivial things that you going through, your finances, you know what I'm saying? Like, my man gone. He lost his life. Like, yo, you got breath in your lungs. Your finances, you bickering, you arguing with your wife. You got a bad relationship with your kids. Your parents, you mad at your mom. You mad at your dad. You and your brother and sister not talking. Like, bruh, do you understand what a gift life is? And E, I know you live by that every day, and it's easy for us to say that now in the wake of Chris's death. But how do we live like that on a reg, man? Because I'm really using this time like, yo, I know Chris, you know, is looking down and he would want us all to grow from it. How do you live with that sense of purpose and that sense of intentional living every day?
You know, and forgive me, guys, if I'm making this sound, you know, like easy or making this sound, you know, doable. But the reality is, guys, you know, we can live every day to the fullest. Like we can have that same sensitivity we have when somebody close to us dies. We can have that, you know, on a regular basis. And I remember when I was in college, Errol Trammell, it was either our freshman or sophomore year, he died. And I remember Errol used to, like, he literally rode his bicycle from Alabama to like Oklahoma. And on one of our breaks coming back, he got hit by a car or a truck. And I remember going up to his casket saying, "I'll never forget you, Errol." He used to sing. He was a part of our Bell Tower ministry, and he had music on the back of his shirt. And I remember saying, "I'll never forget you," you know? There was others who passed. You know, I think a boy, PJ, had leukemia, and he died of leukemia. And I just remember saying to myself, like, yo, I will never forget you guys. And I will always remember how precious life is. So for real, I do get up in the morning. You know, I call my son, I call my daughter. "You good?" Jada, like, "Why you call me?" Like, "I just want to make sure you got into your dorm room all right. Make sure you make it to class." You know, I wake up every day, Didi be like, "You getting on my nerve," but I run and give her a kiss on her neck, like, "Good morning." You know, and she like, "Stop." I'm like, "Nope, I'm doing it every day." You know, and I'm thanking God for you. You know, she like, "I ain't even brushed my teeth yet." I'm like, "I don't care." You know, and I've gotten to a place, man, where I've lost so many people. You know, I'm 48, so of course I've lost a lot of people, you know, throughout my lifetime. And I just wake up every day like, yo, literally, like when I tell people I'm blessed, I'm like, yo, I made it. Like, I got a new day. And the reason why I'm so excited about it is because I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what kind of house you live in. I don't care what you drive. I don't care how much influence you have or what titles you have. At the end of the day, I don't care. You're not that deep because you can't wake yourself up. So I laugh at people, you know, who got millions in the bank, people who, you know, have prestige and power, and they walking around all cocky. I'm like, boo, you can't wake yourself up. You don't have the power to say, you can't even plan for the next week or two because you don't even know if you're going to be alive. You know, so it's a choice. And we can wake up every day when there's breath in our nostrils. And like you guys were saying, maybe you're not where you want to be financially, but man, Jalen called me today and it sounded like he was whole. You know what I'm saying? He driving around. I'm like, I just saw a friend of ours in Atlanta whose sister got into a bike accident, you know? And I'm looking like, she's like, yo, it's going to be a long recovery. And I'm like, praise God, she's alive and she can recover. So guys, do me a favor right now. Stop listening to the podcast if you have to, but go hug your wife. Go hug your hug. Look, go tell somebody, like, go make amends with somebody. Do that for me. Go, somebody you got beef with, somebody you angry with, somebody you ain't talked to in a long time. You just stubborn. You like, I'm not going to forget him. They going to come and forgive me. Like, yo, don't be on that. Like, for real. It's like, I remember me having to talk to my mom. I remember me having to drive and talk to my biological father, like having some like serious issues, and I had to go do it. So for real, if you got something serious, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and just be like, yo, for real, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Like, but don't go another day where you got blood pressure. You got high blood pressure right now because you own something. Go, get over. Go tell your kids you love them. If you the kind of father where you like, my kids know, no, they don't. No, they don't. Don't do that. They know I love them. I go to work every day. I pay the, no, don't do that. Hug them. Tell them you love them. Let the words come out of your mouth, right? Say it. You're not going to die. So go hug your loved ones. Go write your mama. I was going to say a letter, but I'm old school. I guess people are not doing that no more. Text them, you know, send them an email, you know, FaceTime them. But whatever, man, the people, your mom, your dad, your siblings, like your loved ones, your kid, whatever, man, whatever. Go and tell them how much you love them. Don't let them second guess. And you wake up every day and do me a favor. Stop all that complaining. Stop all that, woe is you and all that victim stuff. If you have breath in your nostrils, you have another day. And instead of using the energy to be defeated, use that same energy to defeat all the obstacles that are trying to come up against you. All right? So look, man, on behalf of the ETA family, for all my Breathe University members out there, for those of you who just rock with us on the podcast, you follow us on Instagram, whatever, just know, man, we love y'all. I'm telling you this. We love y'all. And I promise you, this is not, yes, we are a business and there's certain things we have to do, but just know we love y'all, man. And this is like the third member of Breathe University that we've lost, and none of them have been forgotten. We've been blessed to be able to go to the memorials. We've designed T-shirts, sold T-shirts and gave the proceeds to their family, and with Chris, man, we're going to rock with Chris until the wheels fall off. We're going to be there for his son because I know he would be there for my kids. Let's keep loving. Remember, love conquers. There's a lot of hurt out here, a lot of pain out here. There's a lot of divisiveness, a lot of, bickering and fighting. But look, spread love, y'all. Spread love. Spread love. And hug somebody, kiss somebody. And like C said, we'll be back next week, to our regular schedule program. But we wanted to honor Chris. And I just wanted, if we could right now, we just have a moment of silence. So the Chris family, if you're listening, we love you guys. We know that we can't take the pain away, but know that we're going to be by your side and we'll do whatever we have to do to support you. See?
Man, shoot, man, I'm gonna get through this because Chris was my dude, man, and
Yep.
he he believed in us. We've been rolling for a long time with this thing, but Chris was one of those first people, man, who was at conferences, who was showing love. And Chris went through a lot, man. You guys will hear his story, but he had a son. He talks about it at the conference. He had a son who committed suicide, and he was in the service. And Chris went through a lot, and he bounced back. And I want you guys to know that Chris was an advocate for parents who've lost loved ones. He was an advocate for growth and going to the next level. He taught this at the conferences on a regular basis. And he was just a solid human being, man. And like I said, he was a huge fan of the podcast, man. And I'm gonna miss his texts. And I just, man, this podcast and everything we do going forward, bro, is for you. Rest in heaven.
No question. No questions asked.
Much love, bro.
Yeah, no questions asked. And I forgot to say this, Karl. I gotta say it. But Chris was such an influence that right now my baby girl who wants to go into social work is a certified animal assessment trainer. And just last week, she did her first assessment or interview with an individual. And she called me and told me all about it. She was geeked. She wanted to know, did I get the recording? Did I hear it? So when I tell you he has influenced the influencer, and the ones that I influence, and more importantly, he influenced the apple of my eye, who is going to keep this animal assessment, process alive. And I know Jada gonna take it to a whole level. I didn't even share it with her yet. I didn't even tell Jada yet. I need to get off this phone and give her a call. But yup, we love y'all. We love you. Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Remember, CJ said it in the infamous words of Les Brown, if you could fall on your back. Because if you fall on your back, you can look up. And if you can look up, you can get up. We love you. Please do us a favor and make the rest of your life the best of your life.